is Margaret Ann Windsor. That's my real name. I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, which is near Huntsville, about 45 miles, and where NASA began in the early 50s. And there's a point in saying that, but I didn't know about being kidnapped until I became a candidate in '83 to replace Congressman Larry McDonald. He was a doctor at Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, and the plane went down August the 31st of '83. The KAL passenger jet that he was on was shot down when it veered into Russian airspace. Now then, I can assure you that a lot of this murders, like this one here, Fort Hood massacre, he's a psychiatrist, and he was born here in Roanoke County, where I came to live in '86. And I had written about mind control murders. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, and on March the 6th of '78, and he flew me out there in '83 during the campaign and helped. This editorial was done April of '84. I had run for Congress when I was flown out there. But my point is, he said here that I know who's responsible for his shooting in Cobb County, well, I lived in Cobb County, but I'd written about doctors, forensic pathologists Warren and Rosina Matthews, who had worked at Piedmont Hospital, and where Larry McDonald, well, I think his family, I don't know if they owned it but anyway, he was there, and he was U.S. Congressman, and anyway, I had written cases about him, and then there was another one, a lot went on there at Piedmont Hospital. Then there was Jean Srokerman, who was gunned down on Christmas Eve, and she worked at Piedmont Hospital for Dr. Hardiman, another psychiatrist. Anyway, what I wanted to say here was, back then I was writing about cases and telling about how mind control is done, and back then you couldn't Google it and find out about MK Ultra and all that now. What I wanted, the agency that has done these that I tell about, I'm sure there's a lot that you'll never know if mind control is used, like to cause a heart attack or program someone to go out and shoot. I wonder, or use a knife or whatever. It can be used mass or one or two. So how would you ever know when it's been used? I want to say this. Back before, I had antifreeze put in me April 1st of '80, and I tried to move out to Texas, Abilene, and, well, that got thwarted. That's another story. I had to turn around and come back in my apartment. My ex-husband had illegally, they let him take it. I was filled full of antifreeze, but before that happened, just prior, when I came through Huntsville, I was trying to get a detective. He worked for the district attorney that later I worked for in 1980 after the antifreeze and the condition I was in. But his name was, believe it or not, Dutch Holland. And he was a detective, and he worked for the district attorney's office. And he told me when I called him, he said, well, I had a client that called me, and she wanted me to, I guess, surveillance on her husband, etc. And she was given the command. He didn't say who gave the command, but she went out and killed herself. So you can do all kinds of things, and it's so massive. Edward Snowden only touched the tip of the iceberg on what the NSA can do, and they can certainly go out at this point. Even agencies can do it, place people under mind control. Part of it is teaching them the Morse code without at a sound that they're not aware they're getting it. So I could go on and try to tell that. I'm not going to. What I wanted to add here was the fact that I haven't said anything about yesterday's downing of the Malaysian because I just haven't, because I didn't have enough, and I can't really say anything other than it sure sounds like it to me that mind control was used there. Now they're saying that a missile hit it. Well, Anderson Cooper, I just heard him earlier today say, why was the plane there, flying over that airspace? So I guess that's the question. Was it even supposed to be in that airspace, or did the Malaysian that just went down supposed to be a missile hit it? Was the pilot placed under mind control without his knowledge? Well, it's always without your knowledge. And did he fly into the airspace? So then the missiles were meant to hit him because he flew into the airspace. So the blame would go back somewhere else to the one giving the mind control command. So all this crap, excuse me, and everybody's blaming Putin, and they can't go back to the, well, anyway, he's got to be the fall guy for it all, hasn't he? So I guess I'll go on that one, and that's a thought I wanted to throw out there.